Hey craft artists, this is Sherry and I have a new project for you. This is some little gingerbread faced spice jars. And I picked this up at Big Lots a long time ago, but you could do this with any spice jars. They're glass and the lids are plastic. And what I've done is I've sandpapered the silver off the lid just to give it a more rustic look. And then I base coated with a couple of coats of Gesso, which is my primer, and a couple of coats of yellow ochre. And this is an artist pigment color, 917 yellow ochre. It's by Folk Art. And it's the perfect gingerbread cookie color. And then I floated with raw sienna around here. So I've got one more to float, so I thought I'd show you real quick how I'm doing that. So open up a little float medium here. And I'm going to dip the heel in medium and the toe in the raw sienna. And you want it kind of wet. I've got a fan on behind me, so things are drying out on me pretty quick, but make it pretty wet so you can walk it around the whole thing. And just on the edge, just walk, walk, walk. Get more color as you go. All the way to the edge. Make sure there's no raw sienna or yellow ochre showing through the edge. Get the entire edge of it. And then once you're done, just tap the center. You can use a Maxine mop, but I'm finding that this is working just as well. Just tap that wet line out, your wet line. And then run around and make sure that there's no paint spilling over on your edges. So that's a nice little float to make the cookie look like he has been in the oven. So now we're going to start working on some faces. I've already got one started here, as you can see. So my colors are black, white, buttermilk, raw sienna, yellow ochre, which raw sienna and yellow ochre I'm done with. And a little bit of, let's see what kind of red that is, barn red for his cheeks. So I'm done with that for now. Actually, I think I'm going to get a little bit of this float medium out of my palette, so I don't have to go chasing on for it later. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with his eyes. So I'm using my number 4 Craft Smart. And I'm just going to go in with my usual teardrop style eyes. There's one. There's 2. You don't want to go up too high because you want to save some room for your icing. Whoops. I'm getting my eyes too big, so I'll go up here and fix this one a little bit. Just artsy fartsy, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Okay. I'm going to come in with my low Corel number 2. Actually, I'm going to use the script liner. The script liner is a 10/0. With some float medium. Pick up some black. Let's do some eyebrows real quick. Just rest your pinky and flick them on. Okay, now let's go into that low Corel. I'm going to work on his nose. So I'm going to take a little bit of that yellow ochre and come in here with a little bit of buttermilk and mix the two together. Here under his eyes with a little crescent of a nose. Then I'm going to pick up some raw sienna and come down on the bottom part of his nose. And then pick up some more of that mixed yellow and buttermilk. Or I'm sorry, yeah, the yellow ochre and buttermilk, and just kind of slip slap till I just get some kind of a shaded nose here, mixing the colors together till I come up with something like that. Now let's go back. Let's do his cheeks before we get any deeper. So I'm going to get a little bit of the Burn Red on my Dunkin' number 5. I'm going to scratch it out over here on my paper towel. And just let's see, script liner back into the float medium with a little black. And we're going to run a mouth on him. What kind of mouth do we want here? Let's just a straight smile on him. And then like the other one here, we'll come down on the other side with a little opening. Fill that in. Get a little black. Roll your brush. Make sure it's good and wet. And we'll come underneath there and follow his grin and get a little lip there. Oops. Let's do some smile lines real quick while we have all that out. A little smile line there. And right there. Okay. Now his eyes are dry, so let's go in with an angled shader. And this is my Low Cornell 3/8 angled shader. Into the float, into the white, blend it out. And then come in here and float on the left, just around his eye. Float on. Let's go back to the script liner. Let's work on some eyelashes. Get the paint all the way into the bristles and roll the brush. Flick them on. Let's do a few at the top. I don't want to draw too much attention to eyelashes at the top, but just flick a few on here. Just really wispy. Just a few. Work on some highlights. I've got my stylus. I'm going to use the small dot, dip in my white, dot off, one dot in the eye, and let's come in here and do a dot on his lip and a dot in his smiles, And then we're going to dot his nose and drag right at the top. Drag it. Okay, he's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and do the coral, low coral number 2. I'm going to go in the buttermilk, but I want to pick up some float medium in this because my fan is drying my paint, so keep your float medium handy. And because I'm using white as highlights, like on his cheeks and eyes and lip, I'm going to use buttermilk as his icing. And I like to start down here, like maybe next to a cheek. And you're just going to wiggle your brush just like you would ice a cookie. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can come down on the lip of the piece and back up into the cookie. Just like that. And if you're not super happy with his nose, you can work on it a little bit more. I might put a little bit more yellow ochre right in the center, maybe. And that's it for these. I made some for a family member one time, and they put colored jelly beans and set them out for Christmas, and it turned out really cute. And when you're done with them, just spray them with a couple of light coats of matte sealer or high gloss sealer, but take the lid off first and spray them real good and let them dry real good. And then of course you can put the lid back on, and they can be stored either down or up like this. I hope you enjoy my tutorials. If you have any questions, comment below, and thanks for watching.